very briefly about this idea of expanding into Obamacare. If Obamacare was such a great idea, why is it that the people who authored Obamacare are calling it publicly a train wreck? Why is it, if Obamacare is such a great idea, that the people who have the most political influence with the people who wrote Obamacare, the people closest to Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi, why are they the ones who are obtaining waivers so that they can become exempted from Obamacare? Let's take health care off of the table completely. Let's call this the chocolate frosting on chocolate cake bill. Okay? Why is it that if this is such a delicious recipe, that the people who manufactured the frosting are ones who are suing for the right to not be forced to eat the cake? Doesn't that tell you something? Yes. It tells me something. It tells me that anything that this federal government does is going to be ruined, going to be ruined, going to be ruined.
The next thing that I would do is I would try to make contact with other people who have had and are continuing to have the same types of problems. And you never know what kind of contacts or information you may be able to get as a result of that. So I think those are a couple of the main things. But I would fight. I wouldn't take it up against the greatest odds. There's 1% that has the power. I don't believe there's very many honest elected officials in America. I asked some elected state officials who I believe are honest, what happens when they get elected. Do they call all of you together and say, okay, this is the real deal? He said that's exactly what they do. They tell you that your constituents no longer matter. You do what the caucus, which is what the party tells you to do. And most of them do. And so we just don't have honest people. You need to know, if you get in this battle, you need to know you're dealing with corruption every way you go. And look, I've talked to more people than anybody in America probably ever has face to face about it. I know that it's real. I've got mountains of documentation produced by people. So you need to understand it's corrupt. When you find that they're violating the law and you're shocked, don't be shocked. It's what they do all the time. And I would say try to find out if the judge is making improper decisions. Research to see if you can determine other cases where that judge is involved with the attorney on the other side, whether it's the prosecutor or somebody representing a spouse. We have one case in Michigan where one female judge has taken away the parental rights of something in excess of 60 women.
Wow.
Just normal housewives.
Wow.
And I met many of them. Everyone I met was white. It's a white judge, white middle class to upper class women had their parental rights taken away. This woman obviously has a problem with women.
Yes.
And now that the 60 have gotten together, they've got to put a bunch of information together about how bad this judge is. So hopefully they will at least keep her from ever getting, Judge Patricia Gardner, from ever getting elected again.
Oh, yes, indeed.
But make contact. Probably everybody who's ever been in a court has been screwed, has had their rights violated, has been a victim of corruption. So that means we're talking tens to hundreds of millions of people. And we need to get everybody to wake up and realize it.
And in addition to realizing it, people must know their U.S. Constitution. Honestly, if we don't use it, we're going to lose it. And the average person has no idea what their First Amendment is, their 14th Amendment, their right to remain silent. People don't know these things. And it's like the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And America will perish because its people lack knowledge of the U.S. Constitution. Most people don't know that the Constitution is the protector of God-given rights. It's like in writing, you're allowed to have a child, you're allowed to have parental rights, and here it says right here in the Constitution to protect that. And people don't know it, and they sign their children away because these bullies that are paid by the U.S. government are, able to frighten the average person because they're afraid, oh, I'm going to go to jail and maybe I can work this out and get my child back.
Don't ever let
they're being bullied.
CPS in your office. Don't ever sign anything.
Yeah.
Don't ever give up any of your rights.
Yeah.
Don't enter into a safety plan. Don't enter into anything with these people.
Yeah.
Keep them out.
They're criminals. There is nothing that will happen other than a crime. No matter what you do with them, it will result in a crime against you, your family, your loved ones, and it will perpetuate other families because as long as everybody keeps giving in to this criminal behavior, they recognize, well, we're on the top. We're the top dogs here. We're going to take as many kids. So America becomes just as criminal when they remain indifferent, apathetic, or just give in to bullying. And that must stop if we are to restore greatness to this nation.
Absolutely. Don't let them in without a search warrant.
All right.
If they don't have a search warrant, they have no rights to come in your house.
Well, I want to thank you so much for what you're doing. I've traveled quite a bit. I've been to at least 14 states on this campaign. I've been to more than 40 cities. And just like you, all of it is the same profile on who is going to be beaten, whose child will be kidnapped. The same profile exists in America. It's those who are mostly unable to articulate for themselves. But they are, like this gentleman has said, even middle-class white American women. So it's getting bigger and stronger, and it will only go away when we stand up together and
Terrible problem for immigrants, people with learning disabilities. Again,
Yes.
it doesn't matter color of skin. If you've got a learning disability, or if you're have any mental retardation or any kinds of issues like that, you're primed for it. If you look like if you're a nerd.
Yes.
I did a story in Tucson about a man who they took his children away because they said he was mentally retarded. Well, for starters, I don't think that's any reason to take the children away. But second, he has 150 or something IQ.
Wow.
He's a genius. He just looks like a nerd.
Well, same thing in school. It's written in the ACLU book. The ones who are so-called gay, the ones who are poor and dirty, and they have that profile of, okay, that's the one you go after. And so it sounds like the same rules, the same games. Again, U.S. citizens must stand up and take back this country, starting with learning U.S. constitutional rights so that you know not to open that door and let them in. Any closing words, Bill?
I need to film some people.
All right.
Thank you.
Had any interaction with Child Protective Services?
Yes, I have.
Was it right here in the state of Arizona?
It was in the state of Arizona, the state of Mississippi, and in the state of California, all the states that I lived in.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Now, starting at what age?
Around the age of 6.
At the age of 6?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, Child Protective Services sounds like an organization that would protect children. Did you feel protected during your time with CPS in any of these states?
I mean, no kid should say that they felt protected, because at the end of the day, it's all a scam, because they neglect us and they treat people like outcasts when they're in the family. Like, if you're gonna take somebody within your family, you're supposed to treat them like as a family member. You're not supposed to treat them as an outcast to make them feel bad, and then that makes them grow up to like hate their parents because they feel like they're outcast by another family.
Yeah, exactly.
So it makes their life go down a spiral. It makes their life miserable. And I know a lot of people who are in foster care who, like, they say that foster care is supposed to give you a check every month. I didn't get no money every month. I remember like going to Payless and getting like 1 pair of shoes and like 2 pairs of pants from Walmart, and then like the people that I stay with, they take their kids out shopping, go get them brand new phones at the mall and everything. Me, my brothers, and my sisters were all there. We feel like outcasts. We don't get like clothes from the mall, nothing like that. No cell phones. And then on top of that, like all the houses that I lived in were Mexican. None of them spoke English. None of them.
Your caregivers spoke Spanish?
Straight Spanish.
Oh, my
all
God.
of them. Her nieces, her nephews, even her son. You know what I'm saying? They were all adults. And like, why would you, if you guys say that you guys are caring for somebody, why would you put them in an environment where nobody speaks English?
Wow, that's what CPS did with you?
Yeah, and like, there was 5 of us. It was me, my brother, and my sister. We all stayed, at first, we stayed in like the first I stayed in the street across the street, and my little brother and sister stayed across the street. And then they split us up, and then we are all in different cities. I mean, like, if they were to, like, you know what I'm saying, keep like a family that came in as 3, why would you guys split a family up if you guys are caregivers?
Yeah.
That wouldn't make any sense. That a lot of people missed little brother, little sister, I mean, whatever, whoever it is, you know?
Right.
And
To them once they turn 18. What about if you don't know who their parents are? What if you lost contact? Then they don't get to come back home. What about the letters that you have us write to those kids that they're supposed to get when they turn 18? I have 3 that are 18, 19, and 20. Do you think they got one letter that I wrote them that they promised that they would receive when they became an adult? No, they don't even know that they exist.
They feel like we abandoned them. They feel like we don't love them. They feel like...
The first one, and every other zone is thinking about this, and we know this. We need to fire Director Carter. How many children will it take? How many children will it take? How many children will it take?
Programs that are a little bit less expensive, that aren't the home visitation program, community-based outreach, awareness. There's all kinds of services that we can offer families for preventing involvement with CPS, and I really do think that's the key.
Basic needs aren't met.
The family needs to be intact. There needs to be food, shelter, basic literacy, basic reading, lots of things that we could really do to help support the families so that those children get brought up with the biological parents. Every child wants to be with their mother and father, and we can help the parents. We really can, and it's going to make a big difference.